All right, let's get this joint on the road. We're going to talk about this symbol. You remember the movie, the TV program, Paladin? Or you got to be old school to know Paladin. He represented the old guard, symbol of justice, the knight. Okay, for those who's coming here, we want to welcome you all. We don't talk about Daryl. What's his name? Daryl. What's his last name? Daryl Brooks. Yeah, who defended himself. I think it was in Minneapolis. This was maybe a couple years ago, maybe longer. He had killed some children. My heart go out to anybody who was killed in an accident. This is not to justify in a way diminish the suffering that took place. I want to address the point that everything he said about the court not having jurisdiction is right. It's coming out now. All these so-called judges were operating illegally, unconstitutionally. They're not judges at all. They're administrators. And Brooks made that point quite a few times. He said, "How can you call yourself a judge?" Because they were not in constitutional courts. So you couldn't call yourself a judge. They are administrators. So President of the United States is busting all that up. With the Chevron doctrine. Let's study that Chevron doctrine and see what you understand what's being said. So this is not about the case. I'm not talking about the horror that he has committed, but I'm talking about the facts that he was the only one that was right as far as the jurisdiction of that court. And that's all he did was challenge the jurisdiction. So when the jurisdiction is not validated, it can't go on. Because all courts, when it comes to the indigenous people, which he stood firm on his indigenous rights, but he never said that. But he had some knowledge of who he is. He stood out defending his indigenous rights. And one day he's going to be held as a hero. Like I say, this is apart from the alleged crimes, but I'm talking about the fact that how he defended himself and the rights of indigenous people in court. That the U.S. courts has no jurisdiction on indigenous people because they can't be conquer us. They can't sit and judge us at the same time. Now there's a commentary, everybody's commentary on his methods of defending himself. And nobody's going to tell you what I'm telling you now. That's why I had to make a record. You have to challenge the jurisdiction of the court that is illegal. He did that superbly well. And I think he got life. I'm not sure. I think he probably locked up for quite a while. But it doesn't change the fact that the courts are illegal. That's all I had to say on that. I want to respect the YouTube policies and not talk about them anymore. But I think they're getting tired of me talking about their guidelines as well as I'm getting tired of discussing the muting of my videos or deleting of my content. So I'm going to let God be the judge, because I know this is not my platform, this is their platform. But everything is happening on my land. So I do have rights that must be respected. I don't have privileges, I have rights. And I'm not black, Negro, or colored. So I do not come under your labels. Of a slave. And that's another thing, tribe. You've been enslaved, not just so-called black people, white people too, because those labels, black and white, are slave labels. So as you accept those terms and allow yourself to be called by those terms, then they can have you in involuntary slavery. That's what happens when you get these statements disguised as bill that you have to pay for. But it's already paid for. That's slavery. But you have a title of a slave, so it's justified because you call yourself an adjective, not a human being. You call yourself white or black. That's not a human term. That's a description of property. You describe property in terms of black and white, not people. People of origin, descent, nationality. So as long as you're not declaring your nationality, you're not recognized as one of the people. Well, that's it. That's all I had to say for this term. Thank y'all for listening. Come back for more goodies. And comment if you want to hear more.